Okay, here we go again. I promised a video on extracting shikimic acid from star anise, and I will drop a video below on this of Mike Adams talking about extracting shikimic acid from pine needles, so pine needle tea, and you'll hear him talking about where the research came from. I'm not going to go into that here. I'm just going to show you how to do that to keep this video as short as possible. So stay tuned and get ready to take some notes. Okay, here we are. This is Christy Mattoon from Mind Rewire. This is my espresso machine. It is a brand name, DeLonghi, I guess. Not that that matters. Go to your Target. Go to your Walmart. Well, I wouldn't shop at Walmart. I'm banning Walmart. That's what I'm doing. But Target, or go wherever you go to find this kind of stuff. And get one that you can afford, right? This was about $160 at Target. And honestly, the only reason I bought this one, the one I wanted, was probably, I think, $50, and they were out of them. So other people clearly had already heard Mike's report on this. So I just bought this one because it was what they had, and it's small enough, small countertop model. You do not need a huge model to do what we're about to do. But you want one that will probably last. Get something that looks like it's got some longevity to it. All right. So on this particular one, when you open the top, there's a water basin here, and it has to be pushed in order to work. I have forgotten that a number of times, but you can pull it out in order to put the water in it, and you can see there's already water in there. It is a plug-in model, so if the grid goes down, if the power goes down, you will have to have some way to plug it into a solar system or something else. But this is a very, very simple model. So you take that out right there. Very easy to do. And what we are doing is the star anise. So I have pre-ground quite a bit of star anise. This is star anise in its pod. There you go. That's what that looks like, right? It's quite beautiful, actually. The way I was originally, let me show you this real quick. The way I was originally grinding them up was throwing them in the old mortar and pestle. I had a hard time saying that, right? And just crunching and crunching and crunching. It takes a while to get it into this form. My husband, however, is a genius, and he's a chef for a long time, and he goes, why don't you just go get a coffee grinder and use it only for this purpose? So that's what I've done. This is my herb coffee grinder. It is a Mr. Coffee, right? You just throw your stuff in there and then hit the button and it grinds it right up. It took seconds to do this, where this was taking me 20 or 30 minutes. Okay, so we have this taken out. Got my star anise here. I'm going to grab a quick scoop of it. I only fill this about half full. And this, right, you got the little thing that presses it down, so awesome, but I didn't put enough in there to really smash it. I've done this enough at this point. I've been doing this for months now, that I only put half in it. If I feel this all the way full, it's way too potent, and I like making it fresh, so I only do a little bit at a time. So you put the thing back up in there and pull it till it's tight. On this machine, and I could have done this before I even got that part ready, you turn it on to the on, and then you have to wait till the green light comes on. It says it's ready, and then we'll switch it over to the brew. All right, and that can take a minute or so. You just have to have a cup that's short enough that it fits right under there, right? So whatever size cup you've got that fits underneath the little spout there. Now what this is doing is it is going to force hot water through the star anise, thereby extracting all of the good stuff out of it. So probably even more than just shikimic acid is going to be extracted, which is really cool. Now Mike Adams from Brighteon.com and Natural News originally started talking about this when I heard it at first with pine needle tea. And they were talking about extracting the shikimic acid from, I think it was white firs or specific types of conifers, if I remember right. And so same idea, you would go collect your pine needles, and instead of just boiling water in a pot and then just kind of brewing it like you would normal tea, you run your pine needles through here. So coarsely chop them up and then put them inside the basket. And then you would do this same exact thing. Now, since I have discovered this, so my green light just came on, this is going to get noisy, so I'll try and talk louder. All right, so not too noisy, I don't guess, but it does get a little noisy. And we'll sit and wait for the cup to fill about halfway full is what I've been doing. If you want it weaker, fill it all the way full. Just drink all of it. This star anise tastes like licorice for those of you that don't know. So it would be akin to buying some kind of licorice tea. But this is more potent for the properties that we're looking for because we're extracting it fresh first of all, and drinking it right after we're extracting it. And you're forcing it through this high pressured system. All right, so you get a little bit different of an outcome. Now, since I've been doing this, I have also tried it with rosemary, which is a little bit rough because that's a very powerful herb. But you can add the rosemary extract to dishes, right? So you can cook with it actually. So you can see, let me show you this now. You can see this is filling up. It's about half full. I'm going to let it go for just another second here. And you can already smell the licorice. This is absolutely amazing smelling. The other thing I started doing, I'll go ahead and turn that off. We'll let that finish dripping. The other thing I started doing was hops. So now these grow naturally in Utah. My husband pointed them out along a riverbank one day, and I was like, no way. So I looked it up to see what the property of hops was. And wouldn't you know, outside of making beer, you can also use hops for insomnia, as a cure to insomnia, as a help to insomnia. It's a muscle relaxant, which is super interesting. So I went and collected a bunch of hops and dried those in my handy dandy food dehydrator. Very, very slowly dried them over a course of a couple of days, and which meant I had to turn the dehydrator on and off a few times. And we do exactly the same thing. I'll put the hops in here. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of anise, star anise. Hops are even more bitter than the star anise is. So one thing you can do for that is, once your tea is ready, is add a little bit of honey, right? So try and find honey that's natural to your area. I just stick the honey in there. I also will add a drop of orange oil, food grade, or lime oil. I've actually added a drop or two of frankincense in here. I love the taste of frankincense, which some people think is crazy. Right? But it's delicious. Once you get it to this point, you just drink it. I actually drink this before I drink my coffee in the morning, which I use a French press to brew. All right, there you go. From product, right, from seed to usable product into the machine, and you get your tea, your beautiful, blissful cup of shikimic acid. And I don't know how much is in here. I don't have the equipment. Mike talks about it. I don't have the equipment to tell you, like, how much are you actually getting. Here's what I do know. Here's what I can tell you. I feel different after I drink it. I actually have felt different since I started drinking it. So it's not just an immediate effect. It's a long-term effect. And one of the things that they're saying is that it somehow helps the receptors that would be receiving the spike protein from this COVID nonsense, and however you're understanding it, that at this point, it keeps it from joining to your blood, right? So something about the shikimic acid, I would say to you, don't take my word for it. Go look up information. Don't do it on Google. You won't find anything, right? Type it into either brighteon.com and see what pops up there, or use DuckDuckGo as a good resource, or any source that is not related to Google. All right, so my best advice is always don't use Google first. Use it as a last resort if you have to. And make sure when you're looking stuff up, you write down the information where you found it, because if it suddenly disappears, right? It's so frustrating right now. They're canceling so many things that are just good, natural alternatives that, who knew? I never knew about this before. But suddenly I'm running everything through this machine over here, everything that I can, and it's making a world of difference. I hope this blesses you. I send my love, and I want to witness you as light as I witness myself as light, and standing here waiting for whatever happens next. If you can do it from a strong state of immunity, a strong state of health, and a strong state of emotional maturity, you will get through this way easier. I bless you.